Hello, everybody. Welcome back to It All Goes Back to Sonic. It's your host here, MegaFire. I am joined today by my good friends, as always, Harvek, Dorko
Hi.
for you, and Bob Hood.
Whoa.
Right.
Hello.
So, yeah, I guess we've got some controversial ones here today. I was pretty excited to do this batch, mainly because I forgot the contents of the Knuckles comics, and I actually didn't remember much of the Sonic ones on this one too, probably for good reason. Today we'll be starting with Sonic Super Special number 8, which I believe is just called Giant Special or something like that. But everybody usually just calls it Sally Moon because it's a stupid promotional thing I think they try to do, or way to grab people's attention. And then Sonic the Hedgehog 69-70 and Knuckles the Echidna 22 through 24. The Dingo Uprising arc. So I think opening thoughts are in order. Let's hear what. I'll start with you, Harv. What are your thoughts? Let's hear it.
Well, how about we get a plot synopsis first?
No. I mean, like overall, just on the batch. Like, what are your yeah?
Oh, these physically hurt me.
That's it.
Yeah,
All right. How about you, Dork?
I legitimately got a nosebleed reading these.
I don't know if you're lying, but
Yes, I am.
I knocked out the Knuckles stuff today before I went to work, and I had a nosebleed. I think we need to stop after.
yeah, the podcast ends after today's episode. This is really the lowest point, I guess. All right, Darko, how about you?
How was your nosebleed?
Well, luckily, my nose is okay.
What about your eyes?
Oh man,
It's sort of a mixed range, I guess. But there's some stories that I had positive feelings towards, or maybe on the more positive, okay side of things, you could say. And then there's some whatever. I'm immediately going to forget what happened in this, and then then there's Knuckles. Like, whoo!
oh boy. Okay, all right. Well, I won't. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I don't know. I think I'm more aligned with what Dorko said. There's my feelings are complex. My motives are also complex. Yeah, it was something, all right. Let's just jump in. Fuck it. Let's just see what happens. Go ahead, Bob. Let's give us a summary of Sonic Super Special number 8.
Okay, here's all four of the stories at once. Sally Moon is when Mobius is invaded by an alternate universe version of Robotnik named Dr. Ivan Robotina. A Sailor Moon parody of Sally Acorn appears alongside Chibi Rose, and they save the day. And then a space cop from an alternate perpendicular universe reveals info about parallel universes and says it was thanks to him that Sonic got sent to alternate universes, like that one with the film noir thing and others, and saved the day several times over. The second, I just called it empty. I forget the full title of the short story. But Sonic tells Amy a story about how his speed almost got him killed. Sonic is tripped by Snively thinking he's saving Sally when instead he's getting zapped. Later that day, Sonic discovers Snively hit him with a ray that makes him even faster than he was before, but also has trouble controlling his own speed. And his aging accelerates each time this happens. The Freedom Fighters go to Robotropolis to find a way to reverse it. And while Rotor works on a fix, Robotnik appears. Because this is a flashback, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. Sonic uses his speed physics to throw a bunch of shit into Robotnik's face to defeat him, but this tires Sonic out. With him nearly aging to death, aims the age ray at Sonic, not knowing that it had been tweaked to work in reverse. Sonic returns to normal and the Freedom Fighters go home. And then Monkey Kong, short story. I immediately knew it was a Monkey Kong story because of the art style. He tries to stop some ninjas from stealing some stuff from the Temple of the Golden Lotus. The Bat Ninjas retreat to their lair at the Haunted Lake. Monkey and his friends go to the lake where they fight some more Bat Ninjas, and then Lord Yagyu drops everybody through a trapdoor when they get attacked by the robot dragon. Monkey whacks the dragon with his own tracking device, which causes him to turn on Lord Yagyu, and then they run away. And then our hero retrieves every stolen article from the last 50 years. And then finally we have my favorite one, the ghost story, where Tails starts his day with Sonic showing him the ropes on finding clues. That's all I wrote from the summary. I think there's more to this, but I don't know. When Antoine, who is supposed to be hiding to help train Tails, slips down a mud ditch. Antoine believes he saw a ghost kick him in, but Sonic and Tails don't believe that at first. That night, the three camp in the woods. Before they go to bed, Sonic tells a ghost story involving a specter called the Headless Gopher and a gold medallion. This will be important later. Tails wakes up to see a fiery ghost next to a tree. He believes he saw the Headless Gopher. Sonic tells him he's just seeing things, but Tails and Sonic decide to look around anyway. Tails finds a fire ghost behind Sonic, but apparently it was just Antoine who went sleepwalking into some foxfire bushes. 2 question marks, parentheses. Suddenly the three find the aforementioned gold medallion, but it is snatched away by the Headless Gopher. That's all of those.
First of all, I wanted to ask if it was just me who saw who the writer was for the first story and was like, wait, what? I know who that name.
Yes. Yes, I was actually going to bring this up as a very big, like, kind of thing. Dan Slott, currently known for his work on a lot of big Spider-Man comics at Marvel, including Spider-Verse. Not the movie, but the OG Spider-Verse. And he also did Insomniac's PS4. He did some writing on the Insomniac PS4 Spider-Man game. Yeah.
Let me just say, the name Dan Slott is nice to see, but it could not stop the unfathomable fear I had looking at the artwork on the first page.
Yeah. I just want to, like, really quick, because I did some research before we started, and I found my way to a Reddit post about Dan Slott in this character, Sonic, that is featured in this, which is our first time seeing him. Get used to him, because we'll see him again. He really wants Sega to use his character. He is inverse Ken Penders. It's just somebody put a compilation of him just adding Sega and be like, you can use my character. Please use Sonic. Reach out to me. He's here. I think that's really funny.
I know that art was done by Spaz, but like, I fear for my life with that Amy Rose.
Yeah, what the hell is up with this? Is some Canon eyes, man. This is I linked a picture to the boys, but like this, all I could think of is Canon. Whenever I saw this every time I'm rereading this comic and I get to this point, I'm like, I cannot look away from those eyes.
This is 2004 DeviantArt condensed into one image.
It is so wild.
Spaz, what happened, man? You usually really good with like the ultra anime influence. What happened?
He had his own style, but I think he was just trying to copy what you just said, an ultra anime style, and it just didn't really work.
I love Spaz, but sometimes he gets a little experimental like this, and it just sort of comes out weird.
But man, when he cooks, he creates some juicy stuff. This panel right here. So a panel where it's like when Sally, Sonic is fighting that alternate dimension Robotnik or Ivana Robotina. Out of nowhere, poof out Sally Moon and Chibi Rose, and immediately next panel cut, just they're all blasted away. And I think that was one of the funnier bits in this. Like that, it really got me. Go ahead.
I don't like how much taller and lankier Sally Moon and Tuxedo Knucks are compared to Sonic.
I love that. Tuxedo Knucks
funny,
is
though.
so funny. He just blows like Ivana out. Like he just throws a rose and blows her up. It's so funny. Like there's a lot of really good art. Not art. Well, okay. There's a lot of really good funny scenes that happen in this one. I think this is probably the highest point in this special for me. It was stupid, but it was fun. It's the best way. I'll forget about it as I do every time, but
No, I agree.
it introduces a character who we'll see a lot later. I also wanted to point out that Sonic has the Dragon Ball radar.
Right.
Addy has Mega Man armor, and he stands 90 degrees at all times from as opposed to Sonic.
This is not a character trait I like in original comic characters.
I like the 90-degree stance. I think it's a fun little thing. I know that's actually one of the things that Dan Slott talked about. Like he was like, look how original this whole 90-degree thing is. Like, what was I smoking? And honestly, I'm okay. Yeah, I think it's charming. It's unique. It's cool. It's a cool idea. He's like the zone cop, right? That's supposed to be. He's like the Sonic that is in charge of making sure all of the different dimensions are going as they should. So he's like the hero, the Sonic hero, but like the way that sets him apart from everybody else isn't just Sonic in armor. He's 90 degrees from everybody because he's always perpendicular to or was it perpendicular or parallel to everyone, because he doesn't have a dimension of his own. You know what I mean? I thought that was a neat little thing. It's way complicated than it should be, but I don't know. I thought it was fun. I think it's neat. I also do like that they try to tie together all the times that Sonic went to different dimensions, to be like, here's the reason why.
That's something I really did not care for, to be honest. Because it just kind of went like, oh, here's this thing that Sonic did sometimes, and then it just kind of turned into like, actually, I was the one responsible for that. You should be thanking me. I'm like, I don't really like that. Maybe it's a bit nitpicky on my part, but it doesn't really do anything for me.
I don't know. I think it made sense for like the bigger plot stuff like the Casablanca. I mean, he also did say it's like, oh well, the thing was weakened, and then it was kind of dumb luck. That you went between things, but like for the bigger stuff, I think it. I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was like, oh, it makes it so that if they use this plot, like, you know, this dimension hopping thing, it's like, well, why isn't dimension hopping more often? You know what I mean? Sonic did it 4 times.
I suppose.
Kind of giving it a little more backbone instead of just being flimsy, so that in the future, if they use it as a plot device, it's not dumb, like just dumb luck. Because that was a lot of the problems with those plots in the first place. They're kind of stupid. Yeah.
And I guess I could also say that I just had this disappointment because I went into this expecting Sally Moon, and I just kind of got like, they're there for a few panels, and then the rest of it is just Sonic and Sonic. I was not satisfied. This is just yet another example, I feel, of like, you know, like baiting with the cover, and then it's like not delivering, or like kind of lying almost.
It has vibes of that one Marvel comic where it was just some random girl, but they put Wolverine on the cover.
Oh, right.
No, little note in the corner, it just says Wolverine's not in this issue.
I feel like I remember that, yeah. Oh, hey, it's just like Spawn. Spawn appears for a panel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that again.
But hey, you know what? Spawn's in there.
He's actually in there as opposed to Wolverine, already better than Marvel.
Yep. We just need to wait for Turok to show up and we're good.
Oh my god, man, that's a missed opportunity. But yeah, like, going on to the next story, Sonic's trademark green jacket, I guess. He just whips out a green jacket that he gives Amy. there's so much like detailed and emphasis on that panel. It's like, what? Why are you so focused on this jacket? What? He's never had a green jacket before. Why are we looking at? I don't know why I got so hung up on that jacket, but I was like, why is this so emphasized?
Costume change.
Yeah, costume change. I do think it's nice that Amy is here. She's not allowed to be in the main story. She can be in a Sonic Super Special.
She's making more and more appearances. It's like she doesn't really do anything, but she's showing up more. She gets lines of dialogue here and there.
Sonic's face is just drawn so interestingly in this issue. Actually, you know who's a real star of being drawn interestingly in this issue? Snively. Every single frame of Snively is so much. It's just a lot.
Me after I take a bite out of a lemon.
I had to do something. I made a little edit to a meme because I read when Snively just zoom in dramatic darkness death. Your Honor, Sonic Hungy death. I spent too much time on stupid gags like these.
I think I was so distracted by like Dan Slott being the writer. I think I forgot like this first story was drawn by James Fry, and the way he drew Snively was. Wait, my brain's getting confused. Which story are we on again?
Running on Empty.
All right, so the first one was James Fry. This one, Running on Empty, is written by Roger Brown, and this art is, what is this? Nelson Ribeiro?
And then new artist.
It's definitely not something I reckon, not a name I recognize. And also, I did think it was interesting that they both had a like parentheses co-plotter. So I guess the writer and artist shared ideas in the plot or something.
I guess this was a all things considered, this little plot was a fun one. It was silly. It was very fun. A lot of these specials feel like it's just kind of like a Mike Gallagher bit where they're just kind of like one-off tales of Robotnik and Snively up to no good, and Sonic gets something happen and then they have to undo it. It's like this is like the plot of this is reverse Sonic Labyrinth, where Sonic goes too fast. Another banger Snively here. He's dude, this pose made me think of something really specific. It's like a cross between the Girls and Games webcomic and the Rage Comic Challenge Accepted thing.
Snively's Bizarre Adventure. He looks slightly ripped, doesn't he? Look at that.
Yeah, he's a
little bit taller.
He's been working out. I'm glad you noticed.
He went downhill a lot after this comic.
I forgot. I forgot to. Yeah, I was gonna link that one too. This is so funny.
I would like to point out his hair.
His skin.
His hair follicles are gigantic.
They're bulging. He's got like, I don't know what the itis of it would be. Folliculitis, I think.
Every one of those like hair strands are infected at the base.
Exactly.
That is a Dr. Pimple Popper video waiting to happen.
No. Dr. Robotnik retires, becomes Dr. Pimple Popper in this universe.
No, thank you.
Now get a load of this.
Oh, God. Thanks for listening, everybody. If you're still here, why? But thank you.
Den of Thieves, I've got nothing to say. I don't care. It was whatever. It's okay, I guess. I don't know. I'd say it was worse than okay. There was one thing that Monkey Khan said where he was like, dragons aren't real. And I'm just thinking, wait, didn't he see Dulcie the dragon?
Yep.
I don't know if he did.
But yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't do enough. I didn't investigate this. I don't care enough. But whatever. That was one thing that like rumpled my brain. I was like,
say
wait
no, actually, but.
I do like the way the dragon looks in this thing. It's like a creature from the Black Lagoon looking. It looked nice. I like it. I don't know.
One thing I found mildly amusing was just one of those original characters being named Fang.
Oh yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. They're bats.
I'm not like they kind of look like bats. I'm not sure if they actually are.
I think they're bats. What about his friends? What are those?
I don't know.
Actually, I didn't.
Are they
think
also
about
bats?
You know, the more I see a Monkey Kong, the more I feel like they're trying to get like a spin-off concept for him.
I mean, maybe.
It's just kind of another case, I think, of like this writer has their original character, so like every time they're writing, it's like here's their OC. Maybe a bit more distracting here, just because there's there's like nothing.
Whenever we get Monkey Kong, it's the same artist.
Yeah.
Today in the Wolfpack goes to Australia to meet up with the Dow Undergangs. They get in trouble, but here comes Monkey Kong to save the day.
I think the thing with Monkey Kong is that you might be honest. I would be curious to like see in the background if it was like was he popular enough that was he like maybe popular enough that they warranted stories in the specials, but then like he wasn't popular enough to make its their own like spin-off comic.
I think the artist was trying to make him popular. And it just never worked.
I mean, he definitely had it was fine, but it's like, I think it suffered from the fact that here's another, like in the 90s especially, here's another Journey to the West, and it's like, this time it's Sonic flavored, kind of. So it's really hard for him to take off in that regard. I think from my perspective, looking at it 20 some years later, that's just how I feel. Like, it's like, I love, the whole Journey to the West vibes that he brings. I like all these little stories. Well, it's like they're fine, right? But like Dorko said, here's this new Khan story, but there's no Sonic at all. Now, at this point, is this really a Sonic comic? Because it doesn't even have any Sonic, like, story elements to it, either. Which, to be fair, many of these.
Note on the front cover, not featuring Sonic the Hedgehog. So, Sonic the Hedgehog story inside.
Sometimes it's okay if Sonic's not there. Because fuck that guy.
Let's talk about Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Oh my god, the art on this. I'm sorry, did a 2-year-old draw this?
See me after class.
This is done by the guy who does Tails Got Trolled.
I like to imagine that Tails is drawing this. Because remember that one time he did like a comic for Sonic when he was sick?
Yeah.
I like to think that this is just another... I'm gonna hope that's what they were going for. It's probably not, but that's my head.
That's what they were going for. Like, last time they spelled it out clearly. It didn't happen this time, so... It's my head canon.
Yeah, I think
let me have this.
Maybe this was actually like, you remember that that episode of Dexter's Laboratory that was written by like a 6-year-old?
Oh yeah.
Maybe it's that.
Dorko, who wrote this one?
The credit is J. Oliveris, based on the animated episode by Pat Ali. So this is an adaptation of a Sonic SatAM episode.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so Dorko actually, we were talking about this a couple days ago. Like, I was messaging him and I was like talking about how I should be reading now, and he's like, "Oh, I just finished watching an episode of SatAM, which one of the stories was based on." I was like, "I didn't know that. I had no idea." All these...
It says it in the issue.
Oh, I overlooked it.
Did it? Oh, in the credit, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. See, I didn't pay attention because I was like, "Oh, Dorko's gonna."
I guess it is the Dorko.
I skim over shit like that like crazy. So
Yeah, I used to look at every single aspect. All the stuff that I've delegated to all you guys, I'm like, I'm going to do this just in case. I stopped doing that because that was not a good idea.
Can anyone explain what a foxfire bush is?
Yeah, it's a bush that's on fire at all times. Apparently.
No, but I'm going to look it up.
I don't think it actually exists.
Oh no, it is. It's a real thing. Foxfire is, or fairy fire. It's like a bioluminescent mushroom or fungus.
Oh, Antoine, my man, what happened?
He just got covered in the fungus. Oh my goodness. Maybe that's why he saw ghosts. Wait a minute, it's all starting to make sense.
Here we go again.
It's lemon drop something LSD again.
It all goes back to LSD.
Antoine, no, you're gonna die.
AGB2 LSD.
So yeah, this comic story is just like that episode 1-to-1. Although I do feel like quickly mentioning that episode has 2 plots, and the first plot was was pretty deranged. Like it just started off with Antoine like encountering like a biker gang, and like they start like threatening him, but then all of a sudden they decide that Antoine's their king, and so he's living it up and is. It gets to a point where he's like, yeah, I'm their king now. Like, I don't want to be with the freedom fighters anymore. See ya.
He deserves this.
It's like, where's the plot going from here? And then the resolution turns into the biker gang. They're cannibals who like to get a king. They like to get a king every now and then and eat him.
What? So Sonic the Hedgehog?
So Dorko, what you're saying is that Pirates of the Caribbean 2 copied this.
Bro, I thought Sonic comics were unhinged, but that sounds even crazy. Maybe we shouldn't watch SatAM as part of this.
Something else I was gonna say is like I never watched the whole of Sonic SatAM, and I don't remember the episodes I watched in the first season being particularly crazy. It felt more standard or made sense, and I think that was a second season episode. That was it. It was very strange.
maybe that's why I got canceled.
Maybe
it tried to rope in that Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog audience.
Oh my god, dude, that's the most unhinged thing I've heard, and we've gone through so much Echidna stuff. Well, actually, there'll be more unhinged stuff when we get to the Knuckles comics. Anyway.
Engaging fast forwarding, sir.
That's all I got on this one. I mean, it's a super specialist. I'm not, you know what? I'm not a particular fan. I was never a big fan of a lot of these super specials, mainly because they were just kind of okay at best, mediocre at best, annoying at worst. They were so harmless that it's like, I don't like.
Yeah,
I don't understand
like
why.
Not a special I'd ever go back to. Just maybe I would just look at the panel of Tuxedo Knuckles every now and then.
Yeah, that Tuxedo Knucks. He's so cool. I'm back, baby. Actually, I like Knuckles. Thanks, Tuxedo Knucks. Also, I just really quick want to say I love that scene of Sally running romantically to be embraced by a Tuxedo Knucks, and just an angry little Sonic in the back is so funny to me. Angry little man. All right, Sonic 69. Nice. You got to say it, guys.
No. Not nice. It was BJ. King Acorn. What? King Acorn, Sally, and Alias see Queen Alicia asleep in the preservation tomb. That explains that TLDR.
And we see her ass!
Yeah, we do. TLDR, he didn't want to talk about the missing queen until he knew for sure what happened. The Freedom Fighters and Nate are off hanging out while being spied on by two figures. They and a bunch of other people concealing themselves in coats reveal themselves to be the escaped fugitives from what's this place prison, working with Snively. One of them knocks out Sally via blunt trauma. A big fight breaks out, and then the goons capture Nate Morgan and leave. And then we get a Lupe Wolf thing where she returns to the human kids with canned food, and at the dinner table she says something like, as soon as the deadly weather dies down, we want to reunite with those that we left behind. And that was that.
Dorko, who's the writer and artist?
The writer is Carl Bowlers, and the artist is Stephen Butler.
Yeah, so as Bob said, this one was pretty much catching up on, I mean, the plot where Sonic's back, but now people actually have time to talk to him. I have mixed feelings on this beginning. It's a little, for me, I feel like there's something happening here, but I'm not sure if it's intentional or not. But I guess I'll just say it. So basically, Sally's dad is like giving us a whole essay on why he might actually be a caring father, and like thought things out about this whole situation that she's in, and tries to reassure her, like, you know, the secrets we kept were only because literally, like, if I told you, nothing would have changed unless we confirmed it. Which, okay, fine. Fair. And then at the very end, he's just gonna like basically be like, oh, and also you're just not gonna rule now. Thanks. And it's just like, great way to actually make King Max not be a douchebag and then just like completely override that immediately. I feel like maybe some tact would be, you know, justified here.
Sally, my dear daughter, I love you dearly, but L plus ratio plus you're not gonna rule.
My dear daughter Sally, you've been voted off the island. Sorry.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Oh man, excuse me. That was good. But here's what I meant when I said like my feelings are complex on this, because first off, he wasn't sure. And that was because Ken Penders wrote it like that. And Carl Bowlers, if you notice, is the writer for this. Now, when I was younger, this is even something I noticed, which is to say something I'm surprised about myself, because I've been learning a lot as we've been reading and analyzing these together. I think what Bowlers did here was good overall, because it's an interesting plot point that he, you know, so these characters were introduced, but why? What is the background behind it? Why did all of a sudden King Acorn send Joffrey to why Elias was never mentioned? Why Joffrey was so surprised? Like, all of this was kind of wrapped up here, where it's like, kind of. Like, he's like, oh, well, you know, your mother, I thought your mother died, but then, so Elias must have too. And then I learned your mother might be alive, but Elias might be too. But I only told Joffrey about your mom.
Yeah,
that was a little weird. But it's like, I guess, like, I mean, he's a baby. Is it more likely that the mother would survive and the infant toddler die? Kind of unspoken logic in my head. I was like, okay, I guess I get it, but like, whatever. And then there's this other thing where a lot of people were like, oh, why did he like drop this thing? Oh, because woman can't rule, you know? It's like, why is it like the son, the oldest, you know, monarchy shit, right? Like, crap. But at the same time, it's like an interesting plot for Sally. She's, you know, been shown to be like this leader. She has all these leadership skills, and throughout the thing, but the thing is that she also takes action on the field with the rest of the freedom fighters. So this is like all these key things about her that may or may not have been expressed as well in the comic as we'd like to, but these are what they are trying to express about her. This is her character. She's a leader, but she's also a, you know, boots on the ground, takes charge, does things herself as well. And the fact that she, you know, she thought her dad was dead. She thought if anything happened, she would have to be the ruler. She's been preparing herself for that this whole time. even with the father coming back, this is still what she's prepared herself for. It's not like she wants it either. It's just sort of something that she has sunk a lot of her life into. And now all of a sudden, not just the fact that she is no longer a rebel leader, but the fact that she can no longer be a ruler is kind of being ripped. So what does that leave her with? You know, like, a lot of people were like, oh, well, she could go on adventures with Sonic. What adventures? These whole like last few chapters have been about how they're rebuilding the kingdom. There is no adventures. This is the thing she has stated. So it's like, just to summarize it, I like this plot thread because it gives this duality for Sally to explore herself, and at the same time, it's like, what does she really want? That's it. That's all I want is gonna find. I know it's like 3 pages of content that I just like created this whole like big web in my head about, but I want to just put that out there because I know there's a lot of discussion about this specific comic, and I remember back in the day on forums, like, this was a big topic of debate.
I think Sally still has that gun, so she's got that still.
She also has a computer, the only computer in the land.
They haven't mentioned Nicole for like the past 5 issues.
I know. I'm so sad. Where'd she go?
She got a virus.
Sally, as your father, you realize it is important for me to have all the information. Give me your computer.
I took a very out of context screenshot of her mom. Sick. Sick. Anybody have thoughts on that? I'm just curious if I'm the only one who like there was a lot of text on screen. Let me say, this blows Ken Penders out of the water with how much stuff is on screen.
Well, I wouldn't say that yet.
Well, this one was just sort of a whatever for me, but I think the stuff MegaFire said makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's giving me some insight, I suppose.
I guess the explanation, like, yeah, it was kind of messy, but like when I thought about it, I was like, I don't know how much. I don't really blame Carl Bowlers too much because it's like trying to clean up a Ken Penders mess, and it's like, I don't know how to do this, buddy. You did your best.
Ken
he was given an impossible task, I think.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I think it creates something that it will peek behind the curtain. This plot thread comes up over and over again in the future, and better writers handle this. But this idea wouldn't have been there to handle if it wasn't set up this way. Could it have been done better? I'm sure it could have, because it comes up again, and we're gonna reface this idea about who's the ruler, why, and what for. What are the motivations behind the character for these?
I love politics in Sonic the Hedgehog.
Anyway, what are these chili dogs made of? Because Morgan, he wants to know.
I'm gonna be honest, that's probably the most disgusting chili dog I've seen in this entire series.
Nate Morgan is not impressed with this chili dog. Bread looks bad.
Nate Morgan has a right to ask what that is.
The bread's really gray.
It's like the gray. It's like the bread has become necrotic.
I fear for my life just looking at it.
Here you go. That's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
The food of the hogs, moldy bread and meat that probably tastes funky and will give you food poisoning.
You know what? Bite my shiny metal ass.
Yes, you got it. And I was hoping that one of the 3 of you would understand why I took a screenshot of this, but that was exactly the quote. Anyway, this artist really likes to draw bunnies sexually.
Yeah,
that's all.
You should post a compilation of it.
That's too much work for me. I only do compilations of Antoine.
Fair enough.
He deserves it. King.
Do it for him.
Do it for him.
I could say about going back a little bit with that whole thing of like, yeah, it's shitty that it's like Elias is going to be king, by the way. I'm like, yeah, but I did kind of fall into that camp where in my mind I'm like, well, at least it could potentially mean Sally doesn't necessarily get caught up in boring rolling shit. And
okay, now Elias has to deal with this bullshit. Now she's gonna be
like,
able to live her life.
Like that now they could potentially just have an excuse, so to say, that she could go on adventures if the writers so choose. And like, I mean, personally, that's what I would hope for. Like, maybe you could do like an interesting story with like dealing with that stuff of her being upset about it and whatnot or whatever. But I mean, I think personally, it's like I like to see the gang just do adventure stuff. It's been a while.
Well, yeah. I agree. That's why I like a lot of future plots they're not even that far away anymore. We're so close. There's a really interesting bit of stuff that happens. Well, I say we're close, but realistically, it's like within the next 100-ish. But, you know.
So, what you're saying is, it's like when Captain Kirk got demoted from Admiral back to Captain so he could go on more wacky adventures.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Well, damn, in the long run, I guess. Keep that in mind, I guess, is the best way to put it.
I don't want to.
Okay.
I'm gonna forget this.
Fair enough.
Okay.
We get to visit the Scooby-Doo malt shop, where a bunch of racism or speciesism happens. A bunch of animal friends, the peaceful woodland creatures, start to bully Nate Morgan because he's a human, or an overlander, which, you know, not understandable, but like this didn't need to happen. I feel like this plot thread, maybe we could have not had it occur. But it really doesn't last that long because they start to tussle with those caped crusaders. And I do think that the scene of Knack just whacking Sally over the head with a big hammer is gold.
It was surprisingly brutal, I thought.
It was brutal, but also it is a big hammer. And that's always kind of funny because it's a cartoon.
If it wasn't a cartoon, that'd crack his skull open.
It also confused me when it happened because, like, at first I was like, "Wait, who did that?" Like, I don't see a hammer in any other panel. Like, nobody's holding it. Like, where'd that even come from, and where did it go?
They dropped it. I think it's supposed to be Knack.
No, it is.
I'm gonna change
like
his
they
name
actually
every time I say his
clarify,
name.
like, oh, it was Knack. But like when it happened, I was like, "Wait, who's that?" Like, like he really
was Knack
pulled a
the
hammer
sniper.
out of nowhere and then just shoved it into hammer space, I guess.
You've heard of Hammerspace, yeah. I do like this scene. I like the little tussle they have. It's nice to see the gang, like what you just said. It's nice to see the gang on like they're all fighting. You know, everyone, even Rotor, like everybody's tussling with these guys, and this is probably one of the more fun like fights we've had in a while of just the freedom fighters like duking it out with not just bots but like other animals, I guess.
No, yeah, I was gonna say that I really enjoyed like have this little villain team up of sorts and have a nice battle scene. Like I'll say that issue 69 here, and I guess by extension 70 was the most fun I had with this session.
I like these issues. These issues were good. I think the way that they end it with just a grenade being tossed at Sonic's feet was great. And then just there's a and the best part is there's just a winking Sonic, like, you'll have to see the explosive conclusion next to like, bro, don't wink, you're about to get blown up. And it's, of course, the big gorilla man who throws it, which is fantastic. Still love Sergeant Simeon.
Monkey.
Yeah, so we've decided that nobody has anything to say about Lupe, so we're moving on to number 70. Bob.
Please ignore that obvious jump cut.
Yeah.
Sonic reports to the king that Nate's been kidnapped. Elias predicts the goons retreat is somewhere on a landmass close to the Devil's Gulag. Before the freedom fighters can take off, King Acorn, that's another one of these, decides that he doesn't want to send a bunch of kids to battle because it is no longer wartime. Instead, Jeffrey's team gets to go. As the team arrives on Big Kahuna Island, they find Sonic already there to help. Good guy. While the team plans an attack, Jeffrey insists on barging in and ordering the enemy to raise a white flag. But Sonic objects, as this would put Nate into a hostage situation. Jeffrey doesn't care about the Overlanders' well-being and disagrees with Sonic's idea. One of Jeffrey's team members takes his helmet off, revealing himself to be Alias, who, being higher in command than Jeffrey, decides on Sonic's plan. So just before Nate is executed, Bomb ambushes the goons, attempting to blow up, but duds. But it's okay because it allows the other guys to break in all of a sudden. The big fight breaks out. But then the satellite man from above pushes the button, which causes a giant robo-kraken to pop out of the ground. Bomb blows it up. And then the prisoners are defeated in the crossfire, but I think some of them got away, and they took the biplane. And after all that, we got a... What?
Oh, go for it, finish.
Short story is that every night Sonic has a nightmare where he falls into a statue. And one night he makes it to the part where he hits the bottom of the inside of the statue, and then he's in a world where his face is all over it. And then as soon as he meets the Sonic Adventure archivists that worship him, he wakes up again. He wakes up not feeling like the hero that the people in the stream think he is, because he feels bad for that one time he had to leave a city open to a bunch of Robians, and then Tails tries to pick him back up. The end.
Yeah, that was kind of fucked up of you, wasn't it, Sonic? I mean, it was fucked up of them too, but you did leave a bunch of people to their
thanks for reminding
death.
me about that one comic ending where Sonic does something really out of character, not heroic.
So, real quick, MegaFire, who is this cameo?
Which one?
The one you mentioned before in the other image.
Oh, right. Sorry. So in the cover, I think that's... I was going to ask you guys. That's a Sega character. It's not Alex Kidd, I don't think. And I can't... But it's an Easter egg, and I can't remember who it is. It's not... I think it's not Alex Kidd.
Jesus
Everybody typing... Googling, who is this?
Dorko for you. I must find out.
That's kind of unfortunate. I remember quite explicitly the Thanks Ken Pender's blog had a bit where they explain or link to an explanation, and I don't remember.
I decided to type in Sega red-haired character, and it did give me
not work.
The wrong. It gave me okay. First off, Honey the cat does not have red hair. First off, second off, Simon Belmont from Castlevania is not Sega. Third, the chick from Perfect Dark is also not a Sega property.
And
Thanks, Google.
She has brown hair. What are you talking about?
Yeah, well,
we don't talk about that other game.
Which one?
The one where she has natural orange and white hair.
Oh yeah, that one's strange. Oh, her old art also has red, pure red hair.
Yeah, but it's mostly brunette. I go by the game. I go by the game. She's brunette in the game.
Oh, I guess. Oh, sorry, I figured out, guys. It's Android 16.
Ah, perfect. Yep.
Because that's also the third hit of this search.
Makes sense. By the way, it all goes back to Perfect Dark.
Anyway, that was just a fun little Easter egg. I thought it was cute. It's another Sega game. I don't remember which one it is, unfortunately, off the top of my head, or with searching.
Is it, as long as it's not like the those Middle Eastern McDonald's.
No, this is a real character.
Okay.
But I can see what you mean by that with these eyebrows. Anyway, the cover. The cover of 70 is cool. I just wanted to say that. I really like it has Elias's weapons on the cover, and they're these knuckle dusters. Knuckle blades. I don't know. They're spikes on the side. It looks cool. It's just cool. It activated a neuron. It's a single one. And then we get immediately whiplashed by a Saving Private Ryan joke. Not joke, but reference by Saving Nate Morgan, which I still like when I saw the font. It's Saving Private Ryan font, but man, does that stick out like a sore thumb.
Please capitalize your letters. By the way, I was not expecting a Watchmen reference in this.
Explain.
Where is it?
I may not have got it.
I've seen that Watchmen movie.
At the end of the original Watchmen comic, giant fucking squid shows up, and that's how they unite the world.
Oh.
The squid in that also dies immediately because it dies of its own body weight.
Is that what happens here? Did it die of its own body weight?
Well, no, bomb blew it up instantly. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought bomb did it, but I was like, maybe I missed some.
But the point remains, it dies immediately.
That's cool. I did not realize this was a Watchmen reference.
I don't think Alan Moore likes the Sonic comic though, so sorry.
Are you sure?
I don't know. I don't think he's ever read it.
You should try it, Alan.
Maybe.
He does love the Saturday Morning Watchmen, though, so maybe. You never know.
Wait, it's interesting if it is a reference, but I didn't really care for it plot-wise.
Oh, no,
Suddenly,
it's
giant
terrible.
enemy squid.
Suddenly, here's the squid.
The squid thing was silly.
I was expecting King Kong to show up and throw a rock at it.
I like this. Sonic said some real shit in this one.
Then they were shapeshifters or evil doubles or clones or whatever. Yeah, this is a panel that does sum up a lot of these old comics.
Yeah.
Clones, doubles. Come on, Sonic, get real. That's not real.
I like this page. I'm glad that we get like the Jeffrey squad, just because I really do like Bomb and Heavy and Hershey. So I'm glad we just get them to be here and doing stuff.
I also like the people in the Jeffrey squad that aren't Jeffrey.
Yeah. Notice how I listed all the people that aren't Jeffrey.
I would like to point out that Rotor looks like he's seen some shit compared to everyone else.
Yeah, Rotor, he's really having a time, I think.
It's at this moment he realized, oh my god, my family's still drifting off in the open ocean.
Let me just say, if I had an air horn, I would do it right now. So, Elias coming out the cuts being like, Jeffrey, I am the king.
I almost like this issue because Sonic and Elias owning Jeffrey.
Yeah,
it's just good. They kind of blew it for me by reminding me of that one ending, because it's kind of I don't hate that the hero does something they regret and then they try to be better. It's just that ending was just like a lame way to do a Sonic thing, so I'm still not over that, I think. Does that make sense?
So, technically speaking, the recent live-action Cinderella movie copied this.
They copied Elias?
Yes. At the end of that movie, when the dude's going around measuring all the feet of all the women in the kingdom, it's weird when I put it like that, but that's exactly what happens.
No, I'm with you.
So there's this evil, senator man that's like, oh no, there's no one else in this house, and Cinderella's stuck up in the attic, obviously. And then one of the normal, soldiers pulls off his, hat, and it's just the fucking prince.
Oh, it's exactly what Elias did.
It's exactly what happened here. What's going on?
Me and the boys talking about the Sonic comics.
Tag yourself. Which one are you?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm the book.
I'm Jamie Heineman.
He does look like Jamie, the walrus.
Well, you see here, Sonic. Someone put a beret on his head, and he will become Jamie Heineman.
The Sonic Adventure archivists, they're arguing about which Sonic Adventure campaign is the best one.
Also us. I like the art in this one. I dig it. There's some panels that don't look too good, but overall I dig some of the vibes on this one. Well, not the. I mean, the story is obviously really foul vibes, but
I'm not gonna lie. I like this strange build up to Sonic Adventure.
It's happening.
Especially, I think it's one of the Knuckles ones where there's straight up an advertisement for Sonic Adventure, but it's just him smiling with his eyes showing.
Yeah, it's about time. And we are getting there. Sonic Adventure should be happening.
How do they explain the eyes?
Within a couple. I can't tell you.
Wait, there's actually a thing that
I
happened?
can't tell you. It's literally in the next session.
Okay.
This is the reason why I said this is actually a good place for us to stop, because the next session will be... I wanted us to read those. I wanted that to be the end, but I was like, A, that's a lot of comics, but B, it's like, this is actually going to be a really interesting way for us to start it.
Then you got me hyped for next time. Let's get through these.
All right. Knuckles the Echidna, 22 through 23, or sorry, through 24. Let's start with 22.
Never mind. Let's go back.
Okay, Sally Moon is... All right. Knuckles 22. The Dark Legion roughs up the High Counselor's house. I forget if we've seen this guy before. The Haven guys apologize to Knuckles for keeping him in the dark for so long, but he just wants to know about his father. Meanwhile, High Counselor is brought to Dimitri, who appears to be some kind of messed up looking purple cyborg echidna now. Constable Remington is in a car with Knuckles' mom and others when he comes across some dingoes blocking the road and protest against some echidnas. Remington asks to let them through politely, but out of nowhere somebody throws a Molotov and stuff escalates. Knuckles hears about this emergency and has Archimedes teleport him away to help by punching everybody. Knuckles' dad is walking around thinking of a way to finally apologize to his son. Knuckles starts de-escalating the fight by punching people. The Dingo General shows up and explains that the Dingoes are upset about, in his own words, too many broken echidna promises. Meanwhile, Dimitri has a bunch of doctors prepared to do what appears to be a lobotomy on an unfortunate fellow echidna. Later, Knuckles meets with the Chaotix and Julie Sue. Julie explains the actual reason they're angry is because the High Council isn't doing enough to help construct houses for dingoes, also in an election year. The chapter closes off with Dimitri doing supervillain babble, and High Counselor Bravada has been brainwashed into worshipping Dimitri. This will be important later.
Oh my god, I'm proud of you. You remembered his name.
Only because they said it.
Well, they say it in every other issue that you guys don't
I think I guess what happened is I saw it there and I was like, oh, that's what he's called, and then I went back.
This is actually, I think, the first time we see him, but the fact I'm impressed.
Was that the end of the summary, by the way?
Yeah.
All right, so as usual, written by Ken Penders, but this group of Knuckles stories was drawn by Jim Valentino, who is one of the co-founders of Image Comics, apparently. So that's something.
Please never draw again.
This is a really long Knuckles.
So I see Knuckles can just slide his knuckles around wherever it feels like it.
I just want to tell you guys, this is what my notes say. In order, it begins. The politics begin. I hate this Knuckles the most. Saber, don't defend your son. And that is the first 2 pages of this comic. Sorry, three pages.
Begun. The politics have.
Well, again, my motives are complex.
Cross my psyche, you must.
I just want to point out something. There's a Holocaust poem.
Yeah, okay.
On the very first, which I actively chose to ignore. That's all.
I will say it is like the big infamous thing about this comic, and it's
yes,
it's pretty bad.
yes. All three of these, Mr. Penders. Could it be that you are perhaps living in 90s America, and you are a liberal, because it's showing, but also, what the fuck were you thinking?
Wait, you said 90s America. When was this written?
90s America, 1999.
Yeah. All right.
9/11 hasn't happened yet. Oh my god, goodness gracious. The material that Mr. Penders would have.
I want you guys to please make a note when we hit the post 9/11 Sonic stories.
I would love to. I never thought of it like that. I am so excited to look at it through that lens. But
Sonic's holding up an American flag in Iraq.
So, okay. There's a lot. first off, they introduced this character.
Oh wait, so you were gonna move on? Okay, I just wanted to say.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead. So you're gonna move on? Roadhog hooks you back. Get over here.
Just wanted to like emphasize the absurdity of taking that famous poem about the Holocaust, rewriting it to be about Sonic the Hedgehog, and it's so stupid because it has nothing to do with this comic, like story wise at all, and it doesn't reflect like.
It's downright apocalyptic.
Like it doesn't actually like match up with like Robotnik or how he did things at all. Basically it doesn't make any sense on any level. It was entirely pointless, and it was like just a bad idea.
This should be a very different comic if it did accurately reflect Robotnik.
Okay.
Ken Penders, give me your phone.
Okay, and just to give credit where credit is due, the poem is by Martin Niemöller. It's the First They Came poem. But I'm not, and this is not a defense, but I believe this is supposed to be, and I don't think this is, because I don't believe that Ken Penders can fault the Echidnas for anything, because that's just the person he is. I believe it's supposed to be like an Echidna poet. I hate saying these things out loud. And it is a reflection of the stance that the Echidnas took when Robotnik was doing a takeover. It is something that we covered actually in the last arc, where it does state like the Brotherhood was like, yeah, the war was going on, but we were going to take a side from the Overlanders or the animals or the Acorn Kingdom, whatever. But then, this is still dumb. But I was just going to point out, like, that is probably the headspace that man was in, and that's still not right.
Yeah.
There is a couple things. So the first off, they introduced this Pravda, and he's like kind of, we don't know him. I mean, we start to understand who he is because of what the Dark Legion says about him. Obviously he's somebody in a high power. But the thing that Dimitri's back, by the way. The thing that Dimitri says is actually kind of, I like these lines about it, where he's like, this really amuses me hearing that you say that, you sanctimonious hypocrite. Your family hasn't changed one bit. And this is all a reference, albeit very poorly explained until like later, but that this guy is the descendant of the judges that first ruled against Dimitri's plan to, siphon the energy to land the island. And then also further following up to take away all technology. And I quite liked the speech from Dimitri because it's true. Because the society that Echidnas have built is built with technology. And yet, his people were persecuted on that exact... And then they split off for that exact reason. I thought this was a nice line. Also, he's a Borg now. Which I thought was kind of cool.
Cyborg.
In a very like simple neuron activating kind of way. He's a big old robot man.
And I think I like this design more than Enerjack.
That's how I felt about like I think his name is Spectre. Like anytime he shows up in these comics, I'm like, damn, I just give him
that guy's cool.
Helmet and cloak, and I'm like brain empty. Man, this is kind of cool.
Yeah, Spectre's design is just fantastic.
My favorite part art-wise is like panels where like you can't even tell he's an Echidna. That's what I like. That's what I like his design the most.
It's okay, guys. We got our non-Echidna character. Oh, hey. There's a scene where Knuckles' dad goes and sees the not Master Emerald, but whatever. And we remember that Mammoth Mogul's in there, and also apparently he's high as a kite in there, dude. He's tripping balls.
He's just bored sitting in there for so long.
Eventually he stopped thinking. Yeah, and also we get Dominatrix. Something about Linda. We just don't get introduced to her.
Yeah.
Like, she just appears no fanfare.
Yeah, I did have this reaction of like, oh, I know who this character, or I recognize this character. Like, this is a character that shows up again later. And yeah, he never introduces her or says what her name is in these issues.
So, why does her hair have technological advancements?
Well, that's Uh, yeah. Because
Look, Julie still has like a whole robot dreadlock.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't that new.
No, I know, but
No, but hers aren't even like augmented.
These are I didn't know
on
these
top
were
of her hair.
I didn't think these were like augments or something. I thought it was just like hair clips.
Oh, maybe
for
that's what
weird
it is. Actually.
dreadlocks.
She's trying to simulate the Mario Party minigame where you drop a chest and have it go down
What
the right place. I did this on my hair because I really like that minigame. Yeah, big head, small body. Just gonna say that anyway. Art bad. It is stupid because she's actually a pretty important character. Now maybe she wasn't supposed to be, but I doubt that very much because I think there's a couple cool scenes with like the art. I know I've been negging the art a lot, but there is one scene that I quite liked, and here it is. Sorry about that. I just think it's unique. It's a close up on Linda, and just what she's saying and the way that it's shaded is I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool. I like this one.
I like the panel.
Really
you know,
cool.
you say she was absolutely intended to be a main character. I mean, it's Ken Penders putting a lady in like tight latex, of course.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And she looks different,
Yeah,
which is
her body is completely different than like every other body in here.
I'll give Penders this, and maybe this isn't a Penders decision, but like some of the Echidnas are starting to be way more unique looking. And primarily, actually, like most of the crowds aren't, but like the Dark Legion ones, anybody who's like out of like the hoods have a pretty like interesting design. Like there's a scene where I think it's the very last scene with Pravda, and there's another Dark Legion Echidna there, no name, he's just a guy, but he's like, I think we were introduced to him in later in the next comic, but it's this guy right here. I mean, he looks unique, he looks cool. I dig his design. He's got that giant Buster sword on his hip. Like, I want to know more about this guy. Who is he? And also, yeah, he's like he's 2 fingers away from a Hail Hitler, which also sucks. And he literally says Hail Dimitri, which...
Are you implying something, Ken Penders? I feel like you're implying something.
No, impossible.
Okay.
Impossible.
Before I forget, I do want to just drop a funny face. Because I laughed when I laughed when I saw this.
Oh, that was such an ugly laugh. Oh my god, I did not notice this.
That
I don't know how.
dude, that's just Andros. Only I have the brains to rule and kidnap problem.
Look at the knuckles above him on like the right monitor. Look at those eyes.
Is that Andros?
Oh.
I do want to shout out to this SBO bit. Do you ever wish it was the way it used to be Knuckles, when there was no Dark Legion or Canopolis or any other complication? Oh,
Yes.
SBO every day.
Please.
Oh, man. Oh my god. Oh, just as a note that these are from issue 23, which Bob will give us the summary.
Do you ever wish it was the way it used to be, Knuckles, when I didn't have a dad?
Oh, geez, that
He doesn't have a dad. Oh man, Knuckles, don't you wish you still didn't have a dad?
So what you're saying is that SBO was a virgin birth.
He was yeah. He was
Okay.
he's
Anyway.
he's a holy figure. Anyway,
We're already-
issue 23.
Issue 23.
We're almost done.
So, what's this guy's name? Bravada, the hypnotized Bravada, announces he will not be running for High Counselor this year. Later, Knuckles sees another speech by the same guy in person, who announces that the next High Counselor is this guy, Benedict. He is very pro-technology and very pro-Dimitri. And that's bad. The Haven observes this, only to suddenly be attacked by the Dark Legion. Remington threatens to arrest Benedict, but Bravada shuts him down. Elsewhere, Cyborg, working for Dimitri, I thought it was Dimitri himself at first, attacks the Dingo General and orders his capture. As Knuckles and friends notice the truck with the captive dingoes driving by, the Cyborg makes his appearance in front of Knuckles and our friends. At Haven, the Haven guys are captured. The Dark Legion, Echidna Woman, reveals Mori Rex, former comrade to the Haven guys. And then Knuckles and friends are subdued by the Dark Legion. So Mori Rex is a character I recognize. I just don't remember the part where he turned out to be a bad guy. Was that like just now or some past issue?
Yeah, remember, so he was revealed in Haven to have been impersonating one of the Brotherhood.
Oh, yeah, I think I remember now.
Yeah, I had a little bit of trouble remembering that too.
And then he escaped into a laser wall. And then that's kind of, from what I remember, that's where they left him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Once again, I'm just gonna say this because I want to get it off. There was another very bad poem, or I guess reference, to Nazis and Jews and propaganda in the very first page, because Ken Penders can't help himself, I guess. This is a bad analogy, and it's a really heavy-handed one, and it's stupid. I'm not even going to bother going into detail on it. It just exists. And it's, I'll just say it's Mein Kampf anyway, but yeah. And it's Mein Kampf. That's all. I have a very good face to express how I felt reading a lot of this stuff again and trying to maintain my like optimism that I still like stuff from these comics. Knuckles and the gang go back to the malt shop, as any good gang of teenagers do, to reorient themselves. Which I thought was nice. That's it. The Chaotix are here again, and as always, it is a cock tease.
This issue for me was just like the plot thickens. Okay, the end. I was just whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know what else to say.
The Chaotix are there. Why are they there? Who can say?
They didn't do anything.
No.
So, what I have to say about this issue, the whole thing about
fucking ass. Oh yeah, by the way, the person I was talking about with the cool design was Benedict. He I still think his design is awesome. Visually, of course. And in case we didn't have enough Hail Hitler shit from the last one, he just a bunch of Echidna just joined him. That image that I posted is that cat's reaction to this man's speech. And wow, do I have to say, this, again, heavy-handed, very stupid. How I wish that this didn't happen the way it did, and how telling it is that in my mind, when I'm reading over this comic again, I am skimming past all of these instances, and I'm like remembering these moments with the dingoes, and that's pretty much it. And how the dingoes are fighting all the Dark Legion guys and then get kidnapped. I know I've said this before. I do like the dingoes quite a bit, and I do like the plot line that has to do with the dingoes in the Chaotix, the Echidna Society, and I think that those are probably the highlights for me personally in these, and just seeing that ending where it's like, Knuckles, Julie Sue, and Craig are the General, almost said General Scales, General Storm.
I wish it was General Scales.
Is that it? Was it not like Striker?
Striker. Yeah. I said Storm. Yeah. I don't know. I like the Echidna, the dingo portions of these comics. That's it. That's all my only thoughts on this one.
I'm really confused on that because like one of the notes I wrote for myself by the end of this was, why are the dingoes even here?
So they started this plot line up with them being upset that they're not getting their houses built in time, but I think that just sort of like fell off and it turned into more about the election year or something.
It was partial. It's like it's kind of a cascade of like, hey, you know, you guys promised us all this stuff and it still isn't being done. And these are just, it's like they're engaging in the politics. And then all of a sudden the Dark Legion comes in and it like escalates into whatever the Dark Legion is doing, which is basically, it's like three parties basically going at it. But in the eyes of the Dark Legion, the Echidnas that are against them are shit, and the coyotes or the dingoes are shit too. So
yeah, it drives me crazy. Where I'm like, I don't fully understand what the point is or where this is going or and whatnot. Where it's like, it really feels like the
sorry,
Knuckles Society or the Echidna Society and the Brotherhood of whatever. Like, they're kind of shitty and horrible.
They suck.
And then it's like every time with both the Dark Legion and the Dingoes, it's like, well, here's this opposing faction that are objectively upset. Or like, they should be upset, or they're rightfully upset. And then it feels like, well, this is too one-sided, so we're going to make these other sides kind of look like Nazis. Like,
hey, remember, Dorko, that complaint that you had? Ken Penders heard you 20 years ago, and he fixed it. See, here's the thing. We talked about this exact thing, and I explained to you, like, why I like the dingoes, and then I really hated, at the same time, the way that they end up making the dingoes the enemy, like, the bad guys anyway. But, like, the points they had were good.
you're right.
Now it's like, hey, let's try it again. Except now we can't make the dingoes bad guys. So instead of making it just purely a political plot, here's these bad guys that are doing bad guy things like kidnapping and beating people up. So we got to beat them up now too.
Really
I'm sorry, like my throat dried up.
It really gives me this strange vibe because it's like I'm like reading this and looking at it. It's like logically,
because it's take two.
Logically, on every level, it's like the dingoes are suffering and they're in the right, and then like the way they're drawn and the way Stryker is, it's like he's always like he's kind of like has like a somewhat evil seeming demeanor and design, like he just screams bad guy and he's always angry, but it's like it's like he's like trying to convince me that the dingoes are bad or something, and I'm like, man, I don't know, man. Those are kids.
So okay, here's my other, like, going back to the idea of like, oh, this is like turn of the century American politics, and it's already confirmed that Penders likes to write his politics into his stuff. That is like that's the thing, right, about the Echidna Society is like, even though these are all his babies, he's still trying to write them off as like their shit's not working. And the fact that I'm even having this conversation, I looked to my left and I looked at myself in my reflection. I'm like, I'm going insane. I feel like Charlie Day in with the strings all over the board. I think it's intentional, and maybe I'm giving him too much credit. Maybe it's too much credit.
I'm sure it's intentional
I swear,
to some degree, but I feel like something's coming up short. Like, this is not working, and I'm like,
it's not working, and it's because it's take two. He's doing it again. Like, he's literally redoing like the previous thing with the dingoes, except now this Nazi heavy-handed bullshit is added into it, and it's just making it worse. It's like, why don't you just make a comic story about how why does it have to be 3 arcs of a 3-issue arc of this? Oh man. But anyway, we get clown faces and we get Spectre, so it's okay.
Yeah, there's an example of me thinking Spectre looks really cool, and I can barely tell he's an echidna. I can barely tell he's an echidna.
There's just banger after banger of Spectre shots in the next issue, but now I know it's a silly take to have of like politics in my Sonic, but I if it worked, it could have been cool. And I don't give a shit about what anybody thinks about that. That is, I sit there and I will continue to sit there. I don't care. I think it's fun, and fuck you. But this is not good. And unfortunately, I can't keep saying the high level of this is interesting to me, because even though in my head, in my nostalgia, it will always be, in the moment now, I'm like, I want to strangle someone reading these.
Stay away from me, please.
I think in my mind while reading this, like,
Strangle me, please.
I could see like potential, and then but like like every time it falls short, and it's just not there.
It just doesn't hit. It doesn't land. He's got like these. He should not write. He should not be a writer. Maybe like whatever the thing above a writer is, who does like the general, like the big overview plot. And let somebody else do the heavy lifting. Like,
I don't even want to. I wouldn't even want to give him that much. I feel like if I had like some.
Well, not now, not anymore, not after all this.
No,
but like in the moment.
I was gonna say like in some strange scenario where I had to involve contenders, like it would be like some vague ideas guy that we could sort of maybe base, like give scraps of an idea to other writers to do something with.
He's the guy who lives in the closet. We open the door and he'll shout some shit out there, and we'll just snatch it up like flies, and then we'll close the door again so he can't escape.
Because if he was like in a role of be like, oh, you can't do that to my characters, it's like, this is not going to end well.
You're right. He shouldn't be above the writer, but he should be an ideas guy. But like in the closet, in the janitor's closet. And we haven't even reached the conclusion of this story. Let's get involved.
Let's get this shit done. So Locke wants to help Knuckles, even though there is also trouble at Haven. So of course, the one time he wants to help his son, he can't do it. Dimitri rants. Meanwhile, Benedict tries to blackmail Remington, threatening to reveal some of his secret. I summed up that whole thing with Dimitri rants, yeah.
Locke tries to save his son, but he can't. Anyway, Dimitri rants. Anyway.
He tries to blackmail Remington, threatening to reveal some of his darkest secrets if he does not swear loyalty. Locke appears at Haven and kicks some Dark Legion guys. Remington turns down Benedict, and Benedict says, okay, fuck it, I'm gone. And then he shoves Bravada in Remington's face in order to get away. Remington takes a cab to give chase. Is that the same cab guy from that one LSD arc? Okay.
Yeah, Harry. The best
Thanks,
cab
Harry.
driver.
All right. Knuckles is forced to sleep so they can do some brain shit. And Dimitri monitors his atomic structure or whatever, finding some kind of natural source of energy similar to Chaos Emeralds. But said power source causes all the systems in this computer room to go haywire, and the whole building starts going up in flames. Locke and his ally, that's Spectre, right? My notes don't even say.
The one with the
cool helmet. They kill all the lights in Haven, and Moritori's like, "Oh shit, that's fine. My vision goggles allow me to see in the dark." But this backfires as he gets flashbanged in the face by Locke and Friend. Stuff continues to blow up within the building. I don't have a name for this hideout building. Benedict is revealed to be a robot. Sure. As the building on fire causes some discharge to melt his skin off. Remington said, "Why is he a robot?"
I don't know. Because technology good.
Oh, okay, cool. Remington saves the captives being hung upside down, and he wakes up Knuckles and saves the day. Dimitri got away and is already planning his comeback. That's all she wrote.
It ends with him giving this long speech of, "You didn't win. I didn't lose."
No, I didn't lose. You lost.
You didn't win. To be continued.
I'm just, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna go down and just post every single screenshot I took of this issue, because This is amazing. It's just truly. Once again, we start with the bad quote. Not a bad quote. Like,
see,
but it's
I skipped the summary. I skipped the summary shit at the beginning of the issues, so I didn't even know that they tried to pull this.
Well,
So,
congratulations, you're learning it now.
I skipped the worst part. Good job, me.
Guess who the next quote is by?
I don't know.
Surprisingly, not where you think it's coming from. It's FDR. And it's Spectre.
I see.
Yep, Spectre's quote, an FDR quote, his inaugural address.
I think it's not even changed to be Sonic this time.
He was FDR all along.
He was FDR. Anyway, there's really cool Spectre scenes in this. He just goes so extraordinarily hard. It's wild. I put a single very bolded note. Great googly moogly.
Great.
What can I say? I liked the way that the robot face melted. I thought that was cool.
Terminator.
The Terminator robot. I can't. I'm glad Harry's back. I had a real good time seeing him. That chase, that cab chase is probably the most safe I felt reading
like
these comics.
The one good part. I think that's all I have to say. Was like the one good part.
I am glad that Harry just decided to join them in the building that's on fire, full of armed terrorists / Nazis. Yup.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Man, this one
Harvek?
really
Dorko
killed
for
us.
you, Bob. Come on, you guys have to have some.
I got nothing, dude. Because I don't know what else to say other than the shit they tried to pull was just a really bad idea, really poorly done.
It's poo poo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of already said all my thoughts already.
And after that, it's just more like Knuckles mid. So I don't know what else to.
Yup.
And we've had that song and dance before, and it's like I don't know what else to add.
Nope.
Other than Harry good, Spectre good, that's kind of it.
I know one other thought I have is just every time I get finished reading. Every time I finish reading, I always count how many Knuckles issues are left.
We're almost done.
At least something like
closer and
fucking.
closer.
At least something fucking like happened to Haven for once, because I take the piss out of that place a lot and don't care for it, but it actually got attacked. I was like, oh damn, something's actually happening.
Yeah, at least there was some sort of resolution to the whole traitor thing, so it wasn't completely pointless. So I give like a tiny breadcrumb of credit.
And Locke's trying to be better, but of course, again, as soon as he tries to see Knuckles, he can't. He has to help Haven. So they're teasing it.
Oh man.
I think that's all I have to say about that.
Yup.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got I believe 4 issues left of Knuckles, I think.
I thought there's a lot more.
Okay, let me hear everybody's. I'll go into this one right now. Let me hear everybody's thoughts. No, not 4. We got more. What are everybody's? Just let's go closing thoughts on this batch. MG, go ahead. Okay, fair enough. Dorko, for you.
I mean, nothing's really. Like I kind of said in the beginning, so I just want to. I kind of missed my chance to jump in for that weird story of Sonic having a nightmare. I wanted to give it some credit where I thought the story concept was kind of okay, and I kind of liked Sonic reflecting on his past actions, and I liked that it ended up with Tails cheering up Sonic. I thought that was kind of cute. But yeah, I will admit that
I complained about like them calling back the one ending I didn't like, but at least they're trying to like give Sonic because I was saying before it's okay to make your character do a thing where they feel bad and they try to be better. It's just I just wish it wasn't like that, you know.
I do think it's still a little strange, and also like Sonic ends that note of like I guess it's okay to be a bit morally gray. I'm like, Sonic, no, that's not the moral. Sonic, no.
Sonic, you left them for dead. Sonic, you could have just left, but you left them for dead.
I don't care.
Also,
especially when you think about in that story, it was his hubris that kept him in the town.
I don't think that's what it was.
Tails was telling him we should go, and
no,
he's like,
because
nah,
the whole
I
thing
like
was like Sonic was like, actually, I knew something was going on, and I was just pretending.
Oh, that's right. I was pretending to be an idiot.
And also, I just remember there was definitely like a bit of whiplash every time you reach the end of one of these Knuckles issues of weird, fucked up politics, Holocaust stuff. And then you just see in the later pages like little like Sonic Adventure models of Sonic and Tails.
Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles.
This is Sonic the Hedgehog, by the way.
Yeah, welcome to Sonic the Hedgehog. Bob, final thoughts? Closing thoughts?
Overall, not a passing grade. Knuckles went too deep, and the story stuff, the side story stuff from prior issues was not as bad, but I didn't think it was all that great. I think the Sally Moon thing was okay. It just should have been all about the Sally Moon parody and not the Universe Babble bullshit.
Right.
69 and 70 were all right. I think that the giant squid thing was weird, but it was fun at least more so than everything else.
Yeah, I think I forgot that. I mean, I guess I kind of said it, but yeah, I was really disappointed with how 70 wrapped up, I guess. Like that stuff kind of started with like, oh, villain team up, freedom fighters, they're all big group fight, and then like I mean, like what King Acorn said kind of made sense of like, instead of kids, let's send the royal soldiers.
It was just a fucking. It was just another fucking Satellite Man episode where he pushes a button and then something terrible happens, but only for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
It's because they're setting it up for deep plot.
And it's like, yeah, admittedly, I did kind of get angry again when it was like, let's send in Jeffrey and the gang. And I was like, oh, fuck. It's like, well, at least Sonic was like, fuck you guys, I'm coming along. I'm like,
yeah, I liked that. I liked that he came along, so that was nice.
And then I have this problem. It's like, it really is just like shitty Jeffrey and Bomb. It's just Jeffrey and Bomb. That's what that group is, and it sucks.
Yeah, everybody
else
else
SBO is so nothing. He does nothing. Why is he here? Why?
He goes invisible, so you can't see him during the scenes.
God, it's driving me insane.
Let it all out. They get better. Promise. I promise. At this point, it's just my catchphrase. I don't actually say it because I mean it. That is a lie. I do mean. I'm willing. I'm trying to will it into existence. You see, I'm gaslighting my friends. It's called self-fulfilling prophecy. When I say that it gets better, it will get better. Maybe they'll think it does, and maybe it won't be. But
I mean, I would say at this point, I'm looking forward to more Carl Bowler's stories. That I want to see. I want to see what he does. I want to see what he cooks, and then I'm really looking forward to when Ken Penders leaves.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to when he gets out of the kitchen.
I know usually people have like negative things to say about bowlers as well, but I mean, I think this isn't the first time that all of us have, I think all of us have pointed out that there were like some really good things that he's done with stuff that was set up by Penders. Sometimes it doesn't land, but it's like you can see the intent and it's interesting. Like a thing that comes to mind, I have no confidence in this, but I feel like was it Ken Penders? The story with Knuckles and Sonic's dad.
I think it was.
Was that Penders or Bowlers?
I'm just so tired.
All right, anyway, we'll wrap up. Next time we get to really dive into something interesting. What was mentioned earlier, why Sonic's eyes changed. And we get Sonic Kids 2! Woohoo! Apparently that was a banger, which I was surprised. I'm
just so tired.
And then we get a Sabrina crossover. Actually, we get a bunch of crossovers. We're pretty much reading. We're not reading any Knuckles comics next time.
Really? Not a one?
Yep. Nope, not a one. It's Sonic 71. Oh, sorry. We are reading one Knuckles comic. It's Sonic 71, Knuckles 25, 2 specials, a crossover, and Sonic 72, maybe 73 as well. So we got a little more of a pack list just because it's all kind of one thing. I'll see. I'll let you guys know. But yeah. Okay. Well, that's the show, everybody. Remember, first they came for the foxes, then they came for me because I'm going home. Bye.